What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype. This is episode 230. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in the hobby today. Brand new release week for us here. Lots of breaks going down on the website at Mojobreak.com. And you can get all those new releases at MojobreakShop.com. We've got a piece of our Josh Luber interview that's going to be on this show. The full episode will be dropping on Friday, but we're going to do a little 20 minutes that we sat down with Josh Luber in Phoenix last week and talked about Zerocool. Lots of fun stuff. Fanatics roll with tops. It was a great little interview, so that'll be at the end of the show here. We're also going to talk about the Gary VeeFriends Zerocool project at the end of the show as well. See what you guys think. The NFTs becoming the actual trading cards and the reverse Dutch auction that Zerocool is doing. So we're going to discuss and digest that. We got 2021 contenders. We're going to be talking about the greatest contenders rookie cards of all time on the show as well. What is going on, guys? C-Rad, what's going down with the what is that? Zerofina?
Sparkling water.
Serafina. Nice.
Yeah. Gives you that soda flavor.
Yeah. Do we think Derek Carr is going to still be there next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna pay him, right? $2 million,
Get paid.
2-year deal.
And pay him $2 million.
I wish. That'll leave a lot of room for to sign other guys, but
I don't know. I mean, right now the rumors. Garoppolo apparently is going everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's rumored now Colts. I've heard the rumors to the Raiders.
Except for Seattle, Ben Baller does not want
Pittsburgh.
Garoppolo.
He doesn't want that pedestrian. I get it. But yeah, I mean, we a lot going down in football. Football just year round, huh?
Yep. While baseball sits on their hands and tries to count their money, we got football off seasons just super exciting. Russell Wilson to the Broncos, crazy deal. But we got the Mint Collective coming up in Vegas, March 25th to the 27th. I think they just announced Peyton Manning and Jerry Rice are going to be there. So some big announcements out of the Mint Collective. It is a card show along with kind of a networking show as well. So if you're going to be in Vegas, just another reason to go to Vegas. Come by our booth at the marketplace, and we're going to be doing free breaks. All you got to do is come by and sign up for a free break and get a chance at something awesome. So we're going to be doing free breaks at the Mint Collective. Man, how excited are you guys to be going back to Vegas? Start with Cody. It's like right around your birthday. What are you going to do in Vegas first?
That's right. We're going to be celebrating. I'm just really thrilled that the Mint Collective decided, you know what, let's postpone this thing. Let's make sure we celebrate Cody's birthday in style.
I get it.
Let's make it a big event. I'll say this. I have had both of my last 2 birthdays interrupted by the pandy. The beginning of it happened a week before my birthday. Then the birthday last year, we were still in pandy mode. No one was vaxxed yet.
Yep.
So, I think I'm making up for lost time.
Cody's getting low.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to Evil Pie. Are you going to Evil Pie?
yes, absolutely.
Out of all the places. That's
Of all
where
the
you go.
places,
Yeah.
we're going to Evil Pie.
One bite review, you know the rules.
We're going to Fremont Street. C-Rad and myself are going to do a little pizza review.
Hell
It's
yeah.
too bad the show wasn't in Fremont Street. Maybe at the
El Cortez,
Yes.
baby. El Cortez.
should have had it at the El Cortez. Could have rented the whole thing out. I think rooms there $25.
Nah,
More
shame.
money for cards.
Hey, they're cleaning that place up a little bit. Don't they,
They
have
are.
that big hotel where the draw is like the sports book is also the pool?
Yes.
I want to check
Circa?
that place out.
Circa.
Yes,
It's
I
pretty
believe that's
awesome. We
Circa.
checked it
It
out.
is, it is pretty crazy. It used to be
Vegas Club?
Vegas Club. Good knowledge. It was, and I've stayed there before. Not amazing. So it's a good thing that they revamped it and gave it a little facelift.
Yeah, it
So,
definitely had rapey vibes before, but now it feels a little
I
high
wouldn't go
end.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would just say that it was a little.
I definitely felt uncomfortable there before.
Yeah. I mean, they did have $1 Rolling Rocks, which is.
And I think the room we rented that time when we were in our 20s was, I think, $20 a night. So, I mean, you can't beat the
it
deal.
wasn't. There's no way
It was like
$20
$25 a night. I'm pretty sure.
No, it wasn't 20.
Because we stopped there before we went to spring
it
training.
It was probably $50 a night.
No, I think it was 20.
I don't
dude.
think there's never been a room that's been $20.
Yeah,
since
when you're in
we've been
Vegas, they
alive
want you to
anywhere.
gamble there. So they,
No,
yeah.
no.
It was $20 a night.
No way.
I'm going to have to go back for
And wait
11
a
years.
second. And we shared a room.
Yeah. how far we've came.
$30 is not that big of a difference. That's still a pretty cheap rate, even if it was 50.
I think it was 50.
Let's split in the middle. Let's say it was like $30 a night, $35 a night.
$20 a night.
We're talking about, what, 15 years ago?
I think we stayed on like Fremont Street in like Fitzgerald's. Remember that place? I think that was like $120 a night.
I don't think so, man. I think it was $30 to $50.
No.
Let me ask you guys.
Tripping.
So 15 years ago, were you guys staying on Fremont Street because is that how you fell in love with Fremont Street, or was it because like you couldn't afford to stay like on the strip?
Yep.
Yeah.
You couldn't afford to stay on the strip.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna
both of them.
So that's how you kind of fell in love with Fremont
Yeah.
Street then. Okay, that makes sense. Like I know that, and this goes true for I bet a lot of people that are listening. When we're younger, obviously we can't afford as much, right? And I know like a lot of my friends with the first Vegas or 2 experience, it was off the strip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily on Fremont Street, but like a lot of people I know stayed off the strip and they would have to walk very far to get to the strip. So that makes sense.
Can't be like 22 years old staying at the Bellagio for like $650 a night.
Well, I mean, I like Fremont Street from a walking standpoint too. You don't have to, you can get to everything and walk and
Yeah, I imagine
see all the
Fremont
street
Street,
fare. And,
yeah, it's better to stay there than I mean, some guys are staying at like motels off the strip is what I'm talking about.
Oh
It's like,
yeah,
I've done that too. But yeah, Fremont Street is like, I don't know. It's a fun experience for sure. I mean, they call it the Fremont experience. Come on.
Yeah, but
awesome.
And if you're going to the show, comment below. I want to know who's going, and we're gonna be doing those free breaks. That is Friday, March 25th. I believe the show opens at 7, and it's open all day Saturday, and then part of Sunday as well. So lots of fun in Vegas. Stop by the card show, hit some tables, hit some bars, bet on March Madness. I mean, it's just going to be a great weekend, and a lot of card folk going to be out there, so it's going to be nice to hang out with you guys again, and kind of like a national before the national, really. So we got a national Atlantic City this year, and right in the middle is Vegas, so I'm looking forward to it.
Do a little float in the MGM Lazy River. What's up?
That's right. If we have some time.
That's my jam.
We'll be doing Cody set up some interviews there, so look for some content being put out there at the Mint as well. So going to be a big week for us. And speaking of a big week, we've got a bunch of new releases this week. Opening day, which is a great flagship product, a great lower end product to buy packs. They looks like they have numbered cards as well, so you could still hit those wanders at a fraction of the price. We got EPL Prism, which we're breaking as well. And then F1 Chrome 2021, which has left a lot of people confused because there's rookie cards and there's second-year cards and then there's F1, there's F2. So, I mean, the guy that's displayed on the screen here, Yuki, I believe is the big draw for rookies. But I think people are still collecting Mr. Hamilton, right? What have you seen in the chat with this new crop of 2022 Chrome?
I haven't seen too much in the chat per se, but I have broken a handful of flagship at this point, and I'm guessing it's the same product, it's just a Chrome version, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think literally there's like 2 rookies, the guy Yuki, and I think Schumacher is another rookie. But like we talked about maybe 3 weeks ago, this is what F1 and these niche sports, it's gonna be if it's gonna be a yearly release thing. It's like how many more new rookies and drivers per se are gonna pop up every single year that people are gonna chase? Right? I feel like it's gonna be the same 3 guys.
Yeah, is the demand going to be there 5 or 6 years down the line? Especially if literally there's nobody else new driving that year, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you will have some new guys, but
Yeah, you imagine there's going to be another young driver that takes the place of one of these top guys like Hamilton, Verstappen, and Vettel and Bottas. But, how often is that going to happen within the sport?
yeah.
But it could be like with Hamilton, you're gonna have collectors who are gonna want to collect every single Hamilton card out of every single set.
Yeah, if you're
year.
if you're like a collector of those drivers, you're gonna love it, right? But how many? Like this is the thing too. Like the growth of the sport, I can see the sport becoming more popular as well, and that will draw people into the hobby side of it. But it's hard to imagine like a 4th, 5th year Lewis Hamilton being as sought after, right?
I mean, one thing we can guarantee that is it didn't take long for F1 to just pass up NASCAR in the trading game. So trading card game. So
I don't know.
There's a lot more drivers in NASCAR too. There's a lot of things going on. But
is that a shot? Is that a shot at NASCAR? Or is that a shot at me?
I think it's a shot at you being a NASCAR fan. I mean, F1 they just made a few releases.
I'm not the only one.
Press Pass has tried to do NASCAR racing, and Panini does it now.
Crazy because we put NASCAR up on the site and it's gone right away. I don't explain it.
So is F1 though.
Well, I mean, but F1, and you went over, I mean, F1, there's also F1 Chrome Light, which it looks like there's exclusive parallels, but maybe no autos or super hard to hit autos.
Yeah.
Because I expect that even the regular Chrome is probably going to be the same autograph configuration as last year, where it's like one every three or four boxes, right?
You know what? I think you're right. I need to double check that, but yeah, I think you're right.
I think it's like one auto every 3 to 4 boxes.
So tough to pull an auto.
Light, great taste, less filling, or
I think Formula One in general is probably just the more sexier driving racer.
Oh, are we still doing a comparison?
Yeah, but I will
moved on already.
I will say NASCAR, you do get more content. Like you get more autographs, you get more memorabilia.
Look at the relics you get. You get like the fire suit, you get the tires, you get like the sheet metal.
Yeah, don't get
you
me
get
wrong.
Like the crazy logos. Like that's the one thing in F1 besides Dynasty. I think that's what we're missing right now. They could do the same type of relics and the same type of like stuff that you're seeing with NASCAR, but you're not. Yeah, you haven't seen it yet.
I think we're seeing the same thing we can kind of compare it like NASCAR is like more of a American sport, right? And then F1 is more international. So there's probably more eyes just naturally on F1 because it goes around the world, right? So that's it's kind of like the same thing with football and soccer.
So you're saying like NASCAR is like USFL and then the F1's like the NFL.
USFL, huh? Maybe like USFL and XFL.
Don't get me wrong. I loved breaking the NASCAR. And
I don't know why you dislike NASCAR so much.
Just for the sake
you haven't even watched a NASCAR race to even have an opinion.
Because I want it to be good, and it hasn't. We've been making cards of NASCAR products for years. And then one F1 comes in, and it just
we sell out every break.
Okay, then throw up those Prism boxes and see if
those sell out too. The shop, we can't keep them in stock. You got to have your finger on the pulse of the collector. That's me.
What other brands do they have? Select?
Absolute
NASCAR?
Mm-hmm.
Throw those up there.
Chronicles.
Throw those up there, see if they sell.
Chronicles is a tough one. Tough sell on that one.
I think, is it Donruss NASCAR?
Yeah, they got that one too.
They got to make them.
I mean, they got a lot of it, and it's a great sport, and I understand why they do it.
Well, let's talk about the old man game, the 2021 Contenders Football. And I say that because that's just a legacy brand. 98 Contenders, with Peyton Manning, and then I think Kurt Warner came a little bit after. And then, of course, the 2001 Tom Brady, or the 2000 Tom Brady. And they've been making it ever since. And we've had these big rookies and these big rookie cards and some really iconic cards. But it kind of got when the mosaics and the prisms started popping off, I think some collectors started forgetting about Contenders. But if you look at the sales of Contenders rookie auto tickets are still where it's at. When you're collecting a player, Contenders is a top 5 card that you should have. And this year, same kind of format, 5 autos. You got your chance at your cracked ice, which are numbered to 21. You got your Super Bowl tickets, 101s. You got lots of different parallels. They have the throwback 2005 design. We broke a couple cases this morning. We pulled a Trey Lance to 49. Greg pulled a Mac Jones. It was some nice stuff. Dan pulled a couple clear autos, which look great this year.
Number to 10.
Yeah, number to 10.
I love those clear autos.
And so we're going to be more breaks happening at Mojobreak.com for Contenders. We're going to be doing it probably the rest of the week throughout the weekend, and it's hot right now, and I think prices are going up. So I definitely would grab your team while you can. What are you most excited about breaking Contenders, C-Brad?
Cracked ice.
Yeah, it's the best. It literally is the best.
Actually,
nice.
that 05 throwback design, we pulled one today. It is a nice looking card.
One in the middle.
And I'm glad that they jump years because they tend to rely on the Brady and the Pitt Manning year retro design. So like we've seen them do that multiple times now within the last few years. So I like that they chose a different year this year.
Yep, and paying homage to that. It's interesting that the cracked ice is numbered to 21 because it's been climbing, right? So I feel like it was 21, 22, 23, maybe even 24. Now it's back to 21.
Maybe they have like an extra photo variation in there.
Maybe.
too.
Maybe.
But they've been doing the photo variation for Cracked Ice. I mean, just in general, they've been doing the photo variation for years.
I know,
now,
but like
right?
I'm just saying, like sometimes they'd have like
3 photo variations now. You thinking?
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
And you can notice which ones. So if you get a non-numbered one, if you look at the back, there's a V, a football with a V on it. That signifies a variation.
Okay.
And what's actually also interesting is that because I just bought a Trey Lance preview, it doesn't say anything about being playoff, but it has that V on the back.
Okay.
So it's almost like it's an extension of the playoff ones are extensions of Contenders.
Yeah.
Just a different parallel. So, Cody, when you hear the word Contenders Football, what do you think? What player do you think of?
When I hear Contenders Football, I mean, it's Brady. It's got to be Brady. It's the most iconic modern football card. It's maybe getting to the point now where it is the most iconic football card, period.
Yep.
I was gonna say I think is the most iconic modern card.
Yes.
Period.
Ooh, that's a tough. Well, little
I
tease.
know. I was
We've
thinking
got
the same
we've
thing.
got a series next week where we're going to try to determine that, but that's for next week.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's an interesting take. I'd say the other one that comes to mind is Mahomes. Although I guess when people think of the most iconic Mahomes card, are you thinking the Contenders or are you thinking the Prism? Are you thinking NT? I do wonder. I guess that's the divide, right?
Right.
That's where the modern collector might say, "Oh no, I lean more towards Prism
You're
for
right.
Mahomes." You know. So
I mean,
don't
you got
know.
the National Treasures too, but I guess just a little bit less available. What do you think of, Dan?
You know what? I'm going back and I'm putting my personal flair on this because when we were breaking in 2012, our first can't miss rookie that everybody was chasing was Andrew Luck. So I'm going to go with the 2012 Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson same year.
And that was an interesting
And RG3.
That was an interesting year because they had them sign on the side, and I
Yep.
think a lot of players didn't get it. So if you look at I think it's in the first slide there with Russell Wilson, he was actually supposed to technically sign on the side, which they didn't give him much room there, so he wound up signing at the bottom. But Andrew Luck's are all on the side.
Yep.
And there was actually a great story that, when that came out, obviously Andrew Luck was killing it. RG3 was poised to go to the playoffs as well. And then you had Russell Wilson, who wasn't even supposed to start, wound up getting the nod over, I believe it was Matt Flynn, and the rest was history for Russell Wilson. But there was a guy, so there's the 101 Super Bowl tickets, and there was we were all chasing it. We're all breaking it to chase it. And there was a guy that went into a local card store, I don't know where it is, on his way home, bought one pack, went home and hit it. And I think he sold it for like $60,000 or something, which was insane money back then.
Insane.
Right?
That's insane
Yeah.
for 2012.
Yeah, just one pack for like $5-6. Went home, opened it, and he hit the card everybody was chasing.
In the market now, that card is probably worth
Still?
more than $60,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Andrew Luck. I mean, Andrew Luck had an amazing career. It just was
Amazingly,
cut short due to injury, but still holds value and definitely holds value with collectors that were collecting back in 2012 and remember just it was the craziest rookie class in football that we had been around. I mean, we were around in 2010, 2011. 2011 had Cam Newton, but Cam Newton definitely didn't have the craze behind it as Andrew Luck and RG3.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got 04 contenders with, you got Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger from that draft class. You've got 2002 with Drew Brees. You've got 2005 with Aaron Rodgers. So there's just a lot of historic, guys now that we're almost 30 years into having contenders releases. So it's just kind of a legacy brand that, honestly, if you're looking to invest in a player, I think it should be one of the first places you grab a card because it's going to be cheaper than National Treasures. It's going to be a little bit more expensive probably than their Prism, but it is on card for most of the main guys. And, it's just one of those cards that just looks good and just kind of signifies football collecting.
Tried and true.
Yep.
What's interesting, I'll add a little tidbit, is that there are always a handful of guys that come into the room every year as we're doing Contenders on release day, right, on a release week or whatever. And they're always like, I don't get why people like Contenders. They're like, and I get it. Some designs of Contenders years are better than others. I give you that. There's some that are not my favorite. But then they'll come in the room and they'll be like, I don't get it, dude. Like, why do people like this Contenders football stuff? And I'm just like, inside, I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And one of the other things that Contenders does have, and sometimes it works out, and a lot of times it doesn't, is it's an expanded checklist. I mean, there's probably 200 to 300 guys compared to most sets, which only have like 40 or 50 guys. This has everybody. I mean, you got Evan McPherson, you got kickers. Sometimes you have coaches. You have guys you haven't seen all year, like Dylan Stoner from the Raiders is in there this year, or guys that came on a little bit late, like I remember the year of Mr. Salsa dancing. Victor Cruz. Didn't have a lot of cards. Yeah, I think he had a plates and patches auto.
Yep.
And then he was in Contenders. So.
It was the first year. It was the first time, like a recent memory I remember, like Tyreek Hill in 2017.
Yes.
It was his first auto.
Yep.
And then also, let's mention also, they even have so many guys on the auto checklist. There's guys that they couldn't get autos for, but they'll put no autograph.
Yep.
I mean, they don't really do that anymore, but that used to be a thing in like the mid 2010s.
They did that with Sean Taylor.
They did it with Sean Taylor. Most recently, they did it with Jared Hayne.
Yep.
From the Niners, the rugby transplant player that I think only lasted a couple.
But it was hot during
Cody
that
lasted
time.
a couple games.
He didn't even make the roster.
That's right. He was there for preseason.
He was there for preseason and had one big hit, if you guys recall.
There's a bunch of Niner fans with Jared Hayne
yeah.
jerseys. Like, what? He didn't even make the team?
You want to know how crazy Jared Hayne mania was? I went out back in my radio days. I was working at a local station here, KMBR, and I was asked, hey, I guess, what is it? ABS, the Australian Broadcasting System, was like, they're doing a radio show. Can you help out? Had to connect to Australia. It was a lot of money to be able to have that phone line or connection to Australia. It was, it was like they had
remember.
Jared Hayne mania.
It was Jared Hayne mania because people were really collecting that rookie ticket, and like people were paying like pretty
Didn't he have
good
a
money
nickname,
for it.
The Hayne plane?
The Hayne plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
How do you get a nickname if you didn't even play?
Well, he did play. He fumbled, I think, a punt in preseason, so he wasn't in favorable.
Well, didn't he? I feel like I remember him having like a huge hit on a punt return. Or on punt coverage. And I feel like everyone's like, oh, yeah, this is happening. And then he was cut in week 4 in preseason.
Well, he was exceptionally fast. I mean, it was a chance and I understood. But I remember being at the stadium for that preseason game, and you can go get custom jerseys made in the stadium. So there was guys lining up to get, I think he was 38, Hayne. And I seen a guy sitting in front of me, and he's like, oh, it's my first football game. I'm from Australia, and he literally went there just to watch
that's
Jared.
wild. That is wild.
It was crazy, and I think that's probably why the Niners were like marketing. If this guy doesn't work out, at least we have some marketing. So, but yeah, you get that kind of wacky stuff in Contenders. Kyle Shanahan had a rookie ticket in 2017. Some of these coaches get tickets. I don't know if Sean McVay ever had one.
No, he's probably hard to get the sign. He'd be a redemption. He's busy winning Super Bowls.
Yep, I was gonna say. You know what? Also about the autograph thing. So some people will look at that, like this is what some folks need to realize as well. Some people will look at the big autograph checklist like, man, it's so diluted, right? Like I just want the big rookies. But it's like it's kind of cool to have a product where these rookies who won't be in any other product the entire year, that they at least get to be in something. You know what I mean?
and that's the essence of it. Like Tom Brady was put in there because of the checklist being so big.
Exactly.
Right? Because he was a 6th rounder. He would have never been in anything else, which he wasn't.
Exactly.
So they expand it to make more, for one, obviously to make more product, but to get more autograph content, you got to expand your reach and get these guys that are 6th, 7th rounders. I mean, even Antonio Brown, I think, was a 6th rounder, and he had one of his first in 2010 Contenders, right?
Yep.
Which 2010 Contenders is the first one me and Dan broke, and that was the Tebow, Bradford, Gronk, and Antonio Brown rookie year, which I love that design. That's an amazing design.
We just got done in our Super Bowl mixer. We pulled one.
Mm-hmm. Pulled the Tebow in there. Yeah, it's huge. So if you look at some of these big sales, Card Ladder, courtesy of Card Ladder, you can see the Brady obviously is just the pinnacle of collecting, and you got what are some of the prices on here, Cody?
Does that mean good?
Yeah, green going up means good. These are all-time sales you're looking at if you're watching the video, dating back as far back as November 30th of 2006 for Tom Brady.
I thought that was Sean Mannion's graph.
Not a ton of recorded sales here, but yeah, it's a lot.
Man, there's a period where you could have gotten a good deal for him, man.
Does that say 2.4 million?
The 2000 no low. What are you looking at? Low
The
price.
low price, yeah.
2,425 was.
So
the
somebody
low
did
price.
sell one eventually for $2,400.
Current price $452,000.
$2,400.
Yeah, I think that's the
Way back in the day.
Yeah, that might be the number to 10 version, but I think the regular base, they're hard to grade with these ones. Is that they're probably around 50 to 70 grand right now for a base if you can get one graded. So, but they're so that's something that's going to continue to go up. Now you move on to Patrick Mahomes, and that graph's a little interesting. It's kind of gone down a little bit. It's peaked and it's gone down a bit. I have a story where I sold one of these for $1,400, which really hurts, but wish I still had it. But where do we rank Patrick Mahomes amongst all contenders? Is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5? I mean, it's not number one, of course.
3.
6, 7.
6, 7. Yeah.
3. I'll say 3.
3.
Yeah.
Who would the second be? Peyton Manning, maybe?
I mean, you guys would know better than me on that one.
Aaron Rodgers?
Probably.
You think?
Yeah, I was
Rodgers
gonna say
or Peyton
maybe
Manning?
Rodgers. Yeah.
Say Brady, Manning, and Mahomes.
Wow. I think I would go. Brady, Manning, Rodgers, Mahomes personally.
Okay, that's fair.
But also remember in 2017 when we were breaking this product, nobody wanted it.
Nope.
And nobody wanted Patrick Mahomes cards.
Nope.
We were literally giving it away. Like we were doing breaks at under cost. Somebody was mentioning it in the chat today. They were saying, oh, I miss case breaks because we know we do half case now. I'm like, we used to do 5 case breaks back then. Remember that night we did 5 cases
Yes.
of 2017 contenders at the old place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do 5 case breaks. And I think we lost money on that.
I remember there was one week, and I think Trubisky threw like 5 touchdowns. He had an epic week. And we pulled a Trubisky, and we were like booming it up and just going crazy over it. I'm pretty sure we pulled like a Mahomes in that like same break, but we're just like whatever. Like Mahomes, who cares? Like Mahomes, like at one point wasn't even the chief that you wanted.
No, it was Kareem Hunt.
You wanted Kareem Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you never know. You could have like a Kyle Trask right now. I mean, everybody's going after Lance Lawrence Jones and some of these other guys, but maybe Kyle Trask, maybe Sam Ehlinger with his tiny, terrible auto. You never know. That's the beauty of contenders is getting those guys that you wouldn't even think of. And going back, it's like the closest thing to like Bowman prospecting for me because you could you wait 2 or 3 years, you're like, that guy's doing good now. Like, oh, let me see if I hit him.
Yep.
I remember buying into 2017 contenders. I bought the Niners and a bunch of Leighton's breaks, and I hit like 8 or 9 George Kittles. And at the time, I was like, oh, whatever. I don't think I was more excited that I got a Steve Young contenders auto out of there. But the Niner, and I was going for Beathard that year. I was like, I want Beathard.
Yeah,
And
I
you
remember that.
probably got some Trent Taylor as well.
I
think Trent Taylor and Kittle were the same year.
There was
dude,
Mostert.
I remember all those kiddos coming into the office. Like, you hit a lot of kiddos.
Well, the reason I was buying it because I think the Niners had like 9 subjects that year, and they weren't high priced. So I was, and that's another thing you can do. Like I think like the Panthers this year, have a
Panthers,
ton of guys.
I mean, the Panthers, I want to say in the first 3 PYTs that we had listed, the Panthers were one of the last teams to sell. And I think in every single PYT, they hit multiple autos.
They probably have a large autograph checklist, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Texans surprisingly were doing pretty well.
Yeah, Texans did well. More iconic cards. We've got the Aaron Rodgers 2005. And it looks like we're getting a steady climb on these card ladder prices here for Rodgers, unlike Mahomes. Do you think that MVP, even though he hasn't won a championship in years,
Playing the best football he's ever played in his life.
has he got, 4 MVPs now?
He is in his prime right now.
That's another good question. I probably should have done this before we jumped on the show. How many quarterbacks have won 4 MVPs? Is he got the most MVP? I mean, there's got to be somebody that has more, right?
Brady?
Brady doesn't seem to win he obviously wins Super Bowls.
Manning?
But I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, we should
Regular
probably
season MVP.
quickly Google that because that
Aaron Rodgers, believe. Oh wait, let's look. I take that back. Continue.
All right, most MVP.
Peyton Manning. 5.
It is. Peyton
Oh,
Manning.
okay. So he's only one behind Peyton Manning.
Yep.
Is that all time?
That is all time.
Wow.
Yep.
So he had a couple more years to catch up to Peyton.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably going to need another chip, I would think.
He's won 2 in a row, right? Going for a
Yes,
third in a row.
He has won 2 in a row.
2 MVPs.
I wonder if anybody's ever won 3 in a row. That'd be probably
Maybe Manning.
yeah, that'd be the only other guy, right?
Manning.
I mean, but where do you rank? I mean, to get off the cards here for a minute, where does Aaron Rodgers rank all time on your guys' lists? Start with Dan. What is he? Is he top 5 of all time?
Oh, he's a top 5.
Is he
he's a
top 3?
He might be 3.
So you obviously have Brady and then Montana and then Rodgers.
I don't know if I have Montana.
Oh,
I know. I have Brady and Manning as my top 2 too.
Yeah, Brady, Manning, Rodgers. Montana had it. I mean, granted, he won. He won every time he went there. I'm gonna give him credit for that. But like, he had some really. I mean, he had probably the best offensive player ever to play in his prime the whole time.
well, I mean,
Except for one, actually the first Super Bowl he didn't have Rice.
And who's Marvin Harrison? Chopped liver? I mean, he's pretty good too.
I mean,
but Peyton Manning, if you wanna go
pretty
back.
good, but I mean, would you prefer Jerry Rice or Marvin Harrison?
Jerry
Well, yeah. I mean, of course I would. But Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison weren't nothing to throw.
And John
for Peyton
Taylor is
Manning.
pretty good too.
Yes, absolutely.
but you don't think the quarterback makes them?
Okay. We were talking about this a couple days ago. Bill Walsh. You think Bill? I think Bill Walsh had it. I think he was the reason why Montana was so good.
It's a combo. Then Belichick is the reason that Brady's so good.
I mean, could be.
Well, I think
This-
weren't we just proven that that's not the case?
Yeah,
with the Super Bowl.
But we don't know what Brady learned from Belichick and was able to take and bring to Tampa Bay.
I mean, the Patriots had a heck of a season for what they had on their team this year.
They did.
You know, with Mac Jones being at the helm. Where do you rank Rodgers, C-Red?
Top 5.
Top 5?
Yeah. And I probably do have Montana as like 3 though.
Yeah.
It'll be 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's a debate you can have, Manning and Montana for sure.
I mean, I'll give Montana clutch, but not as exciting as watching Aaron Rodgers.
I feel like Aaron. I mean, obviously with this graph here, his prices are going up, but I still feel like he's undervalued for what he's accomplished.
I think he is.
I feel like some of these cards that he has are people are paying more for Mahomes and Lawrence, maybe not Lawrence, but like Mahomes and
Allen.
Yeah, Allen. I mean, these guys are paying for what could be when you actually have the guy that's already there.
Burrow, Herbert.
Yeah, it's
Well,
crazy.
I think it just shows what collectors are looking for. Like, yeah, you said it. Like Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, they have chances still to win multiple Super Bowls. Whereas, like, I think most people say Rodgers is probably getting that one, right? I mean, maybe he wins another one. The Packers are going to be good again with him and Devontae Adams back. But I think a lot of people are thinking he's, 37, 38 years old. His chances for another one, this was probably the year. If it doesn't happen now, when's it going to happen? So it's not fair.
But it is crazy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is playing the best football he has ever played in his career.
Easily.
And he is getting older, but he is getting better. It's kind of that. I mean, it's kind of like that whole Brady thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost a certainty that if Aaron Rodgers is out there, the Packers are going to be good, or whatever team he's on is going to be good, and he's going to put up great numbers.
Yeah, it's like that meme I sent you guys where it's like the guy was like, Brady told himself he was going to play until he sucked, and then he's like, man, this is taking too long. I'm just going to quit.
Pretty much. I don't know how many years that everybody was like, oh, it's Brady's too old.
I know. They started that conversation literally like almost a decade ago.
Yeah, it feels like it. It's like, oh, he's washed up. Well, this is going to tie into our giveaway. We are going to name the giveaway winner here soon from last week, but we will give away another $150 in group break credit for Mojobreak.com. I just want to know what you guys' Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks is. I feel like we've done this giveaway before, but hey, it goes along with what we're talking about here.
It's a good topic.
Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, your top 5 or top 4. I think Mount Rushmore's 4, but you can do 5 if you want. And we'll pick a winner there for $150 in credit for Mojobreak.com. We also will announce the winner after our other segment here as well. So
I got a question for you. Who's on Mount Rushmore? Like the real one.
Pop quiz.
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin.
I don't think it's Benjamin Franklin.
No.
Anyone else want to guess?
Do you know the answer?
Yes, I know the answer.
I
was paying
judging by that
attention.
face. I got it completely wrong.
Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson.
I had those three.
I know.
So I was at least 75% if that's correct.
Who's your fourth?
John Quincy Adams?
No.
Prince? No.
He should be.
I'm like trying to picture my Roosevelt.
All right.
Which one?
Teddy.
Correct. Teddy
Teddy
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
It's Teddy Roosevelt is the other one on there.
Damn.
I went night at the Roxbury.
When did Mount Rushmore, I want to say, open maybe in the 30s, and so only about 20 years after Teddy Roosevelt's presidency. So pretty
Wow,
good
that's
on
incredible.
him. Yeah.
No, but I mean, we use that reference a lot on this show. Like, who's on your Mount Rushmore? And I just popped in my head. I'm all, who's on the actual Mount Rushmore? Because I had the ones that you had. I was blanking on the last one.
Man, I felt like I was back in high school there for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we use it so much. We need to
Correctly know who's
correctly know who's on it. You're all, who's on Mount Rushmore? Montana,
on there. They should start carving ones all around. for
Brady,
different-
All right. Well, then here's another question. If we're on it, where is Mount Rushmore?
South Dakota.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Fair enough.
is it in Rushmore? No.
It's in Rushmore.
Does
Does it have anything to do with the film
somewhere?
Rushmore?
I'm glad you jumped in there because I wouldn't have known that.
No, but where in South Dakota?
That I couldn't tell.
Okay. Sioux Falls.
I was going to say that too. I don't know why. That's the only thing I think of when I think of the
That was a guess.
and that's SIOUX Falls.
I'm bad at spelling.
South Dakota.
Are we googling that? No, we don't.
We
don't.
are. Yeah.
I feel like
Love it.
we're filling time, but we don't really need to fill time.
We don't at all.
Josh Allen was the last one as far as iconic. I mean, that 18 design. You had Baker Mayfield obviously and Lamar Jackson and Sam Darnold, and I really love that design. Might be one of my favorites, along with 2010. I really like how they did that ticket design.
It's a nice one.
It's just clean, good space for the auto. Had that little like diagonal. But that's a good question for you guys too, and anybody that wants extra credit in the chat is what is your favorite Contenders design of all time? What year, regardless of who played?
You know what? I'll give special shout out to the one that Dan was talking about, 2012. It's just they didn't leave a lot of room for them to sign. That was the only issue. But the card design itself is pretty nice. I would say my favorite of recent, if I just had to pick a recent year. Dude, actually, 2017 is probably my favorite.
2017 is a good one.
2012 I like, but 2020, the Herbert,
Yeah,
the Herbert year.
That was a classic.
Good looking design.
Yeah.
I wanted to go with 2013, but I think 20.
What?
I'm not going to. 2011. I know
Can't
2011 was a little bit weird with the sideways, but it's just near and dear to my heart with AJ Green, Julio Jones, Copernicus.
You know what they did a really good job on that one though is leaving space for an auto.
Yes,
And that like
Cam Newton.
that like blows my mind that 2012 like they didn't leave him any room to sign.
Yeah.
They went opposite.
2013, I actually can't even picture it. I'm trying to picture like Lev Bell and
Oh yeah, I do remember Tyler Eifert. It was I remember the design now. It's very very similar to all the other ones.
I think they gave him an ample room to sign in 2013 compared to 2012.
Yeah. They had to do something to sell.
Yeah, because I think they probably just looked at 2012 as like, okay, we kind of messed up in terms of where we are letting these kids sign. But like the design itself, again, 2012 was a nice looking design. It reminds me of the Brady and Peyton years.
but 2011 they left literally the whole bottom of the card.
Yeah. So either for the sticker or for the
Which
envelope.
which was the same for 20. I think that's the reason I picked 2017. It was such a clean design, and they left the whole bottom
That
for
white
the
part,
kids to
yeah.
sign.
Yep.
And that was the first year they did Contenders basketball again, and that's a part of the reason why I love 2017 so much because it's football and basketball.
keep
was
the brand.
same. It when it came back, remember that was a huge product. Like people loved that 2017.
You know what
Contenders
reminded me
basketball.
we'd never even talk about because we never pull them is those gold and silver cards. Like you just never see them. I think we've pulled like 1 or 2 silvers.
And
in
every
our-
time I pull one, it's a redemption.
Yeah.
Well, no, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're all
it-
are.
it's always
because
yeah.
it's real.
So we
yeah.
don't see it. So
because
it
because
doesn't
you
feel
would
as-
you would be able to you would be able to weigh it, right? Because
Yeah.
you can tell if it was like, I mean, remember gold standard, like back in the day, you'd pick it up and you're like, okay, there's a piece of gold in here because it weighs a bunch.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think I've pulled like 2 in my career. So I think 1 silver and maybe 1 gold. So those are out there too. As far as I know, I think they're in 2021 contenders as well.
Gotta be.
So it's a 1-of-1 gold. It's a gold card. It's not signed, but it's a gold, all gold card. And then
Is
there's,
it not signed?
No. It's just a gold-plated card. I think it already comes encased
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
And then there's a silver that's numbered to 2. There's 2 copies of the silvers.
Okay.
So be on the lookout for those. They do the vets, and then I think they do all the rookies. So I'll have to check the checklist this year. But well, let's without further ado, we had the privilege of sitting down with Josh Luber from Fanatics, formerly of StockX. We talked some trading cards. We had him open some cards. So the full video will be coming out this Friday, the break room session. But we got a little 20-minute snippet for some insight from Mr. Josh Luber. Here you go. If you could have any music rookie card, any artist or group, what would it be?
Well, I got to think about ones that I don't have, and think there.
Or better yet, what's your most coveted music card?
Here's a different salt and pepper, right? So you have that salt and pepper. I have that salt and pepper.
We're building the rainbow here.
Rock, Kid and Play. Here we go. Look at those guys.
And Kid Rock
And
just
then another
Dude,
Rock
another
modeled the
Kid
hair.
Rock.
Another
Look
Kid
at that.
Rock. Yeah. So I think, and I'm not positive, but I think that I have the largest Jimi Hendrix collection.
Nice.
Just because I know how much has been graded and I know how much I have. And I just think in general, like Hendrix is a perfect example of someone who, Hendrix is as iconic as any athlete ever. And,
Yeah.
and so in the 60s and 70s, there were a bunch of, and you probably know, there's a bunch of different like Dutch companies that made these cards for rock stars. And, and I'm guessing that was all unlicensed. But so you have like, Hendrix in 68 and 69, which appear to be like the Hendrix rookies. There's a Bob Dylan card from 67 that I have a lot of. But the card that I'll say is my grail, but the card that I'm basically been trying to corner the market on, and I think that I have the most of, is in 64 there was, it's actually 2 different cards. It's Muhammad Ali and the Beatles. I don't know if you've seen this card where it was Cassius Clay. And it's, the like famous picture of like Cassius Clay like punching the Beatles and all. So there was a photo shoot from that, and there was 2 cards. There's 1 horizontal, 1 vertical. It's a 1964 Dutch unnumbered set, and like I said, I think I have the only 10. There's only 1 10 between the 2. I have like 3 of the like 4 9s. And I just think that card it's like the rookie card of the Beatles and Muhammad Ali, and it's the 2 of them on a card together, and so I think all those cards as non-sport cards become bigger in general, we'll look back at that and look at Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and Bob Dylan and Bob Marley the same way we look at Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle and the whole thing. So,
what do you think? How do you think we can get music back into trading cards? I mean, I know there's been some trials. Panini's tried country music cards that didn't really work out, and we haven't really seen many music cards. How can we make music cards collectible again, making new cards?
do you know the answer to that?
I don't. I have some ideas, but
We just launched Zerocool, and Zerocool is a new trading card company for culture. And
That's awesome.
the first set is with Gary Vaynerchuk and his NFT project. So it's a VeeFriends physical trading card. So it's physical trading cards of the characters that are on Gary's.
Yeah, the NFTs. Yeah.
That are on the NFTs. And so. But that's that's first. I mean, the company is literally meant to be a trading card company for culture, for non-sports, for how do you have a new set of all the best rappers and rock stars and actors and fashion designers and artists and everything else. So it's actually a brand that we've been working on for a while, and now that we have the licenses for baseball, basketball, and football, and have bought Tops, and have started Fanatics Collectables, we've brought that in, and now we get to launch Zerocool as part of the Fanatics Collectables for a brand of companies. And so the way I look at it is there's actually 4 sports now for us, at least. It's baseball, basketball, football, and culture.
Yeah.
And to be fully dedicated to it. So it's good timing to be
And that's a big
talking
passion
about all
project
that.
for you too, man. I mean, that's amazing.
For years, right? I've
Yeah.
been, as I've been buying cards in general, and then, I mean, on one hand, I have been buying cards because obviously I knew we were going to launch Zerocool and create more of a brand for non-sport cards. But the reality is actually the inverse. Is like I've created this because I've been spending so much time buying and selling non-sport cards, and I tried to do this even back at StockX. So hopefully, in however long it takes to build the brand, it's Tops, Panini, Upper Deck, Zerocool. Those are your 4 brands for the trading card industry.
Nice.
I'm excited.
We've been
There's-
talking about this for years. We've got so many ideas for
There's
trading
so
cards.
many. There's so much stuff you can
just
do
like
with the music.
songs, albums released on trading cards, or
Exactly.
NFTs, or.
Oh, and then once you integrate the digital part of it as well.
Well, we even had an idea, and we won't be able to implement it because we don't have the resources yet. But getting maybe an unsigned artist, starting them from the beginning, and having them sign digitally. So you say you put them on for an hour, so you have that sense of urgency, right, of them only being on for an hour, and then maybe they're going to sign 200 digital copies of something, and then they're signing them on an iPad. It's going directly to the consumer.
Absolutely, right?
Right?
Nilly.
We're not even an up-and-comer, maybe a big name.
No, but just think about that as a means of trying to resolve the redemption issues.
Yeah.
Right, of having people sign it is actually, it's fine that they didn't sign it because once they sign it on the iPad, it'll appear on all the cards. This was
Right.
the Milli Vanilli card that we pulled while you were talking. You can't really beat that.
Blame it on the rain, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how we all got duped that was their voice for so long.
I don't know, man. The song still slaps. So like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's that was pretty awesome. But yeah, so I've been waiting so long to be able to start talking about this and launch the brand.
Yeah.
And now we get to do that. And it's hard to make cards of, there's no players association. There's no group licensing. It's not like sports to do
Right.
that. So there's going to be a lot of one-off deals. There'll be a lot of ways as we figure out ways to bring talent together. But sports is this much of life, and it's important, and we have trading cards around it. But
Right.
all the
Well, I
rest of
mean,
it.
and we talk about it all the time because I remember as a kid, I grew up in the tape era and then the CD era, and being able to ride my bike to get something physical, it meant something to me, right? Now it's just all digital for these kids.
100%.
And there needs to be some kind of tangible item. That's why I went back to records. I'm buying records now because I can get them and they're tangible and I like the artwork and stuff. But, these kids, they just listen to a song. It doesn't mean like it used to mean. But if there's something attached to it, or there's some other way to get them some kind of tangible object, I think there's a whole other market untapped,
Absolutely. I mean, and I mean, artists could start releasing stuff as like NFTs. Basically, the single comes out, and the only way you can get the single is by getting the NFT.
Or look what Kanye just did, right?
Yeah.
Like releasing Donda 2 on the stem player, right? The only way you can get the digital content is by buying the physical. Here's our boy Ice-T.
Nice.
I know there's like 4 or 5 different Ice-T cards from this set. Nice. So yeah, it's all cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we've even thought. If you wanted to make physical cards, you got guitar picks, you got drumsticks, you got drum heads, you
from a
got
memorabilia standpoint, yeah, 1000%. Yeah.
Well, and then
cut autos, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Cobain cut auto, Jimi Hendrix cut auto,
Tupac.
Jim Morrison, Tupac. I mean, Tops did a Tupac and Transcendent, right?
Yes.
So that's
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love a Tupac auto. I grew up listening to All Eyes on Me and all those albums. So
And his estate still does license deals, right? There's still merchandise you can buy, and we haven't started to make a Tupac set yet, but like that's a possibility. Those are
and the
those are all real
demographic of
possibilities.
collectors, it fits right in now, right?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's another thing you guys were, I know with Mitchell and Ness, right? That kind of goes along with all the nostalgia, right? I mean, I actually only buy Mitchell and Ness if I'm going to a game. I'm buying Joe Montana, Roger Craig, or something, because it's my childhood, right?
Yeah,
so it all kind of, when I saw that move being made, I saw it was genius because it goes along with everything else, I do have. I think this was the thing that kind of started it all, right?
Oh wow.
So I have one left. I haven't hit a Tatis yet.
Wow. So I have one unopened at my house. I've opened all the others that I've had. I have one unopened I'm keeping.
So those watching at home, that's the 2019 Bowman Chrome X, the kind of thing that started off StockX and Topps, and I thought you guys were very original on how you guys decided to sell it. I think that was a very innovative way.
This is literally the basically the start of all of this from me working with Topps, and it was the Topps team. It was David and Clay who who were down to do this, and this became the jumping off point for me creating other products, trying to get into the trading card industry, trying to add cards to StockX. So the product, which was obviously a derivation of Bowman Chrome that year, was they're all pre-slabbed, and we can open it. They all ended up being 9s or 10s. Same checklist as Bowman Chrome, but every card was numbered to 31.
Right.
We needed to come up with some number that made sense, but it was still limited. And so you'll know the very sophisticated ways that we got this. The way that we ended up as 31 is that Reggie Miller is my favorite player.
Nice.
And that's how we got
I thought I was even thinking that, or Baskin Robbins, right?
Yeah. No, it is that sophisticated.
Man, Reggie Miller was a beast, though.
And so, so most importantly, and this gets to not only the vision at StockX, but the whole idea of what we're doing in trading cards and how we're evolving it, which is, I talk a lot about this, is how do we make pricing more efficient? And so this was the first trading card set that was sold as a blind Dutch auction, which is different than the declining Dutch auction, which is what Panini uses. And I'll spare the economics lecture and all the details, but the short version is that in a blind Dutch auction, you let the market set the price, and everybody pays the same price. And usually what happens is over 95% of the people actually end up paying less than what their bid is because of the nature of how the price actually gets set, lower than what most people bid. So it's a win-win-win. Price usually sells for more than what retail would have been, closer to what the true market price of that is.
Absolutely.
But it usually, because of the mechanism of how a Dutch auction works, usually everybody gets it for less than what they bid. So it ends up being a very important thing. And so after we launched this...
was that your idea with the Dutch? Or
oh, yeah. Well,
or reverse Dutch?
It was my idea, but to be clear, we didn't make this up. Like the blind Dutch auction is a pricing and allocation method that's been used by to release IPOs and price financial instruments for decades. And so at StockX, we were always trying to figure out what is the right way to have the Nikes and Adidas of the world sell products directly into the market. What is the right way to let the market price products? And so we have some of this in our life. Like eBay is a good example of what we'd consider market-based pricing. It's an auction, and you're letting whatever the market goes for, that's what it goes for.
But this the way you're doing is bridging the gap between overselling and underselling, right? In a sense. Well, so you're making both sides happy rather than just have somebody overpay at the starting price.
That's right. And in an auction, a traditional auction like eBay, it's really good if you just have like one thing. You have one thing, you get as much money as you can. It's whatever two sellers are willing to bid it up for, that's fine. But if you have many things, if you have many widgets, if you have many boxes of Bowman Chrome X, there's a lot of different ways to get to what we'd consider a fair price. And again, I won't go too far down the rabbit hole except to say that we studied the markets for years. Talked to economists, talked to professors, test different things to try to figure out what we thought was the best model to do this. And so our belief is that a blind Dutch auction is the most efficient, the fairest way to create true equitable distribution, to really make it fair of how high demand product is released. And after we did our first big blind Dutch auction at StockX, was actually for a pair of slides with Ben Baller.
Okay.
So before Ben Baller was making Topps Chrome, he made a pair of slides that we put on StockX, and they were sold as a blind Dutch auction. And after the release, we put a blog post, and it's still up at StockX blog, that is this super in-depth recap of and it reads like a math textbook. It's chart, table, it's right. But some professors at Harvard Business School saw it and reached out and said, hey, we think this is brilliant. We think this is a really, innovative way to price scarce assets.
Yeah.
We want to do a case study about StockX and the IPO model. And so very cool. And so now there's literally a case study in Harvard Business School that I'm in. So I didn't get into Harvard Business School, the front door, so now I'm in a case. And so there's some real validation behind this model to do this. So,
it was very interesting.
Are we gonna open this?
When
we first saw it, I thought it was genius, So, and I think we got a couple cases or something, and that's the last box we had left. So, figured it was fitting to bring it with us to Arizona here. So.
I haven't. I've opened so many of these over the years, but I haven't opened any in a long, long time.
Nice.
So this is amazing. Look, I will say it is absolutely genius. It is absolutely the right way to do it. But again, we didn't make this up. All we did was just go out and find the right method. And so, it's a tried and true thing. It's not
exactly.
we do. And
not
so
everything's going to stick either, right? So you got to try these things.
No, that's
see if they're
exactly
gonna
right.
work.
And so, VeeFriends, the first Zerocool launch, is a blind Dutch auction, and most of the products that we sell at Zerocool will most likely be a blind Dutch auction as well.
Nice.
We just truly believe in this method.
So now, in terms, of trading cards, how do you bridge the gap of supply and scarcity?
Well, I didn't know that we go down this rabbit hole around Zerocool and blind Dutch auctions, but that's really the answer. There's many different pricing mechanisms. We will certainly not move everything to sell as a blind Dutch auction, but by the belief in market-based pricing, the belief in pricing things fairly, is the starting point to having a system of equitable distribution where we can make more products, and the products that are worth the most money will sell for more money, and it will leave products that are on the shelf that a kid can walk into Target and buy a pack of cards for $1.
Sure.
So that's the starting point, but it's hard, it's complicated, it takes a holistic strategy to be able to do that. And now that we work with Topps, we can slowly start to look through their product catalog and work with them and figure out how should this be priced, how should that be priced, to figure out. Some stuff will still be retail, some stuff will still have a fixed price, but you can take the really high-end stuff and let the market set the price for that and figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's what, we've been obviously doing breaks for 10 years, so we've seen it be where we could get as much product as possible, to now it's we would get 20, 30 cases of something, and we sell direct to consumer, so we're not reselling anything, we're breaking it, right? So we're implementing those cards into the market. So now it's something that's, I'm just throwing out numbers here, but something that was wholesaled at $5,000, but is $30,000 on the market. So now you have people that sell to us that they don't want to give it to us, totally. and I understand it's economics, but there's got to be some kind of way to not be that extreme and get closer to the middle, where everybody makes money, the customers have good value, and then it's a whole ecosystem. And I think you guys are already on the right pace of what you guys are doing. So
I mean, to your point on that everybody has that opportunity. Everybody up until now, everybody except for the manufacturers. What was ironic about the industry is the manufacturers create the cards, and they're in business with the leagues and the players, but they always just sold products at a fixed price. And then everyone else in the industry can use variable price. You price your breaks differently this day versus that day, depending on how the market moves, right? Joe Burrow makes a Super Bowl, and 20 Prism football all of a sudden is breaking for more. Manufacturers were the only ones that were using just fixed price,
right?
And that's just not the industry we're in. We're not in a CPG world. If you made Cheerios, well, Cheerios can always be $4 a box because they will make an infinite amount of Cheerios, and Cheerios don't change when Joe Burrow throws a touchdown. So, it's just recognizing the actual properties of the products that we sell.
Would you think it would be challenging if you guys, when you guys start making products, to number cases on certain products?
So everything's on the table. I think there's a world, and I know many people will disagree with me, and maybe this is not possible, but I think there's a world where we can actually provide full transparency into supply, where we could tell the industry, we could tell the market exactly how many cards are printed, exactly how many cases are made, exactly how many. And in the beginning, there will be sticker shock, and people will and prices might drop because of the shock of it, because I'm sure there's way more cards produced than people realize. But I do think as a market, as an industry, they are the wisdom of the crowds is smart enough to deal with those numbers.
Sure.
And I just think transparency just helps everyone. So 100%. Numbering cases is a starting point. Like the full solution is full transparency.
And maybe not
everywhere.
on everything. I mean, you don't need to the stuff that's retail. You don't need to, but like your higher end stuff.
Well,
right?
maybe not. Right? You might. It maybe it doesn't matter. But I just think that just good things come from transparency.
Oh yeah, and that's a good point. And I heard on your guys' panel today, I think it was today, you were talking about Series 1, and out of the gate, everybody in our industry was like, "How much Series 1 did they make? They made too much of it." Well, look at the demand.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think you said it. You didn't make enough.
Well, everybody said you made too much Series 1. I need more Series 1.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
which is it?
Yeah, it can't be both.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, it's and we were in that kind of already bubble last year, but I think the rookie class from 2020 just wasn't as
well. That's right.
You didn't have that main guy that everybody wants. It's amazing. You just throw that one guy in there, and then the demand levels change. And we went through 40 jumbos, I think 60 hobbies. I mean, we would usually have 10 or 20 hobbies still at least, and just kind of slowly sell them through the shop through the whole year. We people can't stop coming in, buying it, or ordering it online, and it's phenomenal. And this is without baseball possibly not happening. So
right,
yeah,
right. That's a really
which we
good
thought
point.
would hurt it, but it didn't. If anything,
yeah. I mean,
it
imagine what it would have done if spring training was going on right now.
Well, it could cut both ways, right?
Yeah.
Wander like breaks his ankle or something, or it could go the other way. But yeah, I mean, we don't even have baseball, and we're still at that point. So it's pretty extraordinary.
So we're going to pivot to a basketball question. Do you ever think that we will see a Jordan and LeBron licensed auto logo man in our lifetime coming out of a new product?
I 1,000% would love to make that happen. Look, I have a lot of thoughts about the industry and the hobby that are outside looking in as a consumer, and now spending more time and trying to understand the nuances. But Jordan's had an exclusive license, auto deal with Upper Deck for a very long time. LeBron doesn't, sign cards anymore. But there's a business deal to be had there somewhere. Like it's not out of the question. It's just about the people that there's a business deal, and there's money, and there's demand. There's clearly demand for it, and those guys are both business people and Upper Deck, and so.
Because as customers, we were able to buy Exquisite in 10 or 11 with the college logos. And then you went to okay, now it's in Goodwin Champions, and then it's now it's only memorabilia. So it's can't pack pull any of that stuff, and that's exciting. No. And you get new customers coming in, and they buy the Bulls, and they're like, oh, hopefully I'll get a Michael Jordan card, and you're like, you can't.
There's not even a Jordan card, let alone a Jordan auto,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So how crazy is it that the hobby's where it's at, the basketball's where it's at. There's no Jordan cards, there's no Jordan or LeBron autos, yeah. So look, I'm an idealist, and maybe my idealism will get run over by corporate politics, but I think that we should be able to make that happen in some way. There's a business deal, and what's 1,000% true is the customers want it, the fans want it, the kids want it. We should be able to figure that out.
So we are back. Thanks for tuning into that. Super cool dude. It was a really free-flowing conversation with Mr. Luber, and we were lucky to sit down with him and get some insight from Topps. But once again, that full video is going to be coming out here on Mojobreak Media on Friday, so make sure you hit subscribe so you get notifications when that pops up. And you'll see him opening some awesome hip-hop cards and opening up the original Bowman Chrome X, so getting his insight on how that product was produced. But he just announced Zerocool, which is going to be a kind of a spin-off, an entertainment brand of some sort, and he's launching his first product, which is Gary VeeFriends, which, if you're not familiar, Gary Vaynerchuk, had some NFTs that were drawings of some stuff that he did, and I think he netted $51 million in NFT sales off of Gary VeeFriends, and a lot of them were, some of them were one-on-ones that allowed you to maybe go to a Gary Vee event, go play basketball with Gary V. So there was some actual physical assets involved with that. But now Fanatics and Gary V and Josh Luber are coming up with Gary V and Friends physical products. So they're paying homage to these high-selling NFTs. Gary V was one of the first to break into the NFTs, and he's connected to the card world. So you can see some of the images here on our slides here. And it looks like there's going to be about 250 cases made, 4-box cases, so only 1,000 boxes made. They're going to be doing those as a blind Dutch auction, which we'll get into shortly. But Cody, what do you think about the design of the cards?
I love that you went to me first.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, look, this is not about Zerocool here. I don't want to trash this right after we had Josh Luber took the time out of his busy schedule to talk to you guys and to give us an episode of The Break Room. Can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome, but man, do these cards stink. They look awful. When you guys showed this to me and you told me how much this was going for, it broke my brain.
Well, we don't know what it's going for.
Well, no, he's
I
talking
guess
about the
we
NFTs.
don't.
We're talking about the
the
Yes.
NFTs.
Yes.
Okay.
So, look, here's the thing, too. Gary V's been on the NFT hype, and I think if you ask people what is the biggest problem with NFTs, I mean, there's plenty that people will throw at you, but I feel like the one that's like the constant is they look ugly. Yeah. They don't look good. Most of the art is weird and ugly and bad. And so somebody who's like, this is the future, this is going to be great, wouldn't it be good for him to be like, I really want to make sure these look good, get the best artists. He's got enough money, he's got enough resources, he's got enough friends to do this stuff. And what we're left with is pictures that look like they're made by a 4-year-old that you hang up on your fridge. And it sold for $51 million for NFTs. What are we doing?
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Emphatic Elephant sold for $450,000 via Sotheby's.
What'd you say?
No!
Who?
Emphatic
Who?
Elephant. So
Emphatic Elephant.
yeah, it's going to be the new character. But
So
I honestly, and I'm not trying to be devil's advocate. I don't
here
think
you-
it, I don't,
here you go.
I don't think it's I don't think it's about the design. It's about the NFT backbone. It's about the blockchain. It's about believing in an investment. Yeah, I agree. Maybe the art could be a little bit better.
you're gonna say maybe the art could be a little
Maybe
better?
the art could be a little bit better.
I mean,
but you're buying into the vision of Gary V, who's pretty much been successful at everything he's done. Partnered with Luber and Fanatics to do this drop that pays homage to these NFTs that sold for $51 million. That's real money, guys. So
I know. Well, is it? I mean, it's not like
just documented on the blockchain.
Okay, but it's not like I can't go pay my PG&E bill with Emphatic Elephant. Is what we're doing.
Well, I can't pay it with this Nick Bosa card either, and all it is just a card of a picture of Nick Bosa with a shield.
You could,
but at least it looks good.
Art is in the beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I know, and I was
my
gonna,
guys.
and I was gonna
Art-
say,
art is
I was gonna
subjective,
say the
dude.
same thing. It is subjective, right?
It is.
Okay,
But
subjectively, this stuff stinks.
So that being said, I think, and I give props to Gary V, but it's almost like whatever he puts his name on, people will follow and they will buy it and they will pay an ungodly amount of money for it. And I don't think that is his intention. I think he has a passion project. He does it. He can't help that everybody follows in line and adds an insane value to whatever he's attached to.
That's fair.
I don't think it's like a malicious thing like I'm doing a cash grab. I don't think that is what he's doing at all, but I think he has a substantial following and he can put out anything. I mean, this proves it. This proves the point. He can put out anything and people will pay an insane amount of money for it. Now, if you show essentially anybody this art, I don't think anybody's going to be like, it moves me.
We got a modern day Picasso right here.
I'm moved. I'm moved. I don't.
I am. I mean,
well,
I literally. I mean,
hold on. Hey, I'm with Doug here. I look at that green and that blue that blue
Sorry.
and red chicken.
I
I
moved
think
it.
that's kind of dope.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of me personally. I think it's kind of dope.
No, I mean, you think it's dope because it has
Not because it's not
a
necessarily.
substantial monetary value to it. Like the monetary value makes it dope, right?
No, I think
No,
I don't know how much that card is
like
worth.
if you
I don't know
can
how much
get
that
if
card
you
is
can
worth,
get
though.
a giant, like, let's say 20 by 20 and put that in your house, you'd be like, this is the crown jewel of my art collection, and I want people to come in here and the first thing they see, you're shaking your head. Yeah, there's no way.
If that was my type of art style that I like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So to break it down,
but you just said it's dope.
there's 235 cards, and there's 22 versions of each. Each one's going to be numbered starting at 8 down to different 1-of-1s. They have the Bubblegum 101, Hologram 101, Diamond 101, Gold 101, and an autograph version 101. And, I mean, if you look at some of these names, I mean, you've got Entrepreneur Elf. I mean, maybe you're like, you need that, like, you got that card or you got that NFT, and you're like, I'm starting my business off. And that gives you motivation, right? So you have Gratitude Gorilla. Maybe you're just a jerk in life, and you need to be more grateful. I mean, there's also Bold as Fuck Bat. So if you're, like, out there at the club and you're a single man, maybe you need to be bold.
Family show.
So I'm just reading the checklist here. I'm sorry that there's
No, but I mean, but you
descriptive
could get like
languages there.
bold as F.
Okay, yeah, I should have done that. Honest Honeybee, Heart Trooper, Headstrong Honey Badger, Gutsy Gecko,
Gutsy Gecko.
FU Monday Mole. I hate Mondays too, Gary, you know? Flex and Fox, you know? After you hit the gym, maybe you want to go out there and flex. You got Adaptable Alien, Accountable Ants. I mean,
are you?
Hype Horse. We're gonna pay a premium for that one.
Are you
Hype Horse?
Are you trying? Are we trying to stall right now? Are we?
Listen. Those are two examples, and I'm sure you guys have looked up a couple more.
Tenacious Turkey.
But I guarantee you go through that list, and I haven't looked at all of the NFTs myself personally. I kind of like only a little bit started looking into this because I want to get into the second series. But I guarantee you guys go through that list, both of you, Dan and Cody. If you guys go through that list and you look at, I'm sure you guys will find something in there that you may find like reasonably looks okay to you, like, you know, or maybe that you'll even like, right? So I think the whole idea behind, okay, like first of all, Luber, right, head of Fanatics now. We can all agree he's a very smart entrepreneur, right?
Absolutely.
Like what you were saying, like
Similar to an Entrepreneur Elf.
No, my knock on this product is similar to what Cody was talking about. It's visually not appealing to me.
Yeah,
and that I can have that opinion,
no,
regardless of what the monetary
1,000%.
value is going to be. But I will give Zerocool credit for the transparency and how they're breaking this product down and how they're selling it with the reverse Dutch auction. I think it is an amazing way of selling a product, and I love the transparency. Now, that's all I'm going to say. Go ahead, give me
and
what you got.
We'll break down the reverse Dutch auction because I think that's important going forward with maybe how Fanatics is going to
that is an important
sell
thing to talk
for you
about,
sports card guys. So stay tuned for that. But also, what I wanted to mention was with the NFTs, they do have access token 101s, which gives you something of an event with Gary V. So they're doing the same thing in the Gary V and Friends physical release. They're all going to be 101s. They're the gunmetal 101s. So, and if you read what the name is, I think it's what experience you're going to have with Gary V. So Gone Fishing Fish, Wine Shopping Spree Woodchuck, Basketball Butterfly. I mean, these are events that you get to do with Gary V. Now, that may be cool to some people, may not be cool, but there's going to be some monetary value with that. Bubble Hockey, Basset Hound. So, I'm not a college educated gentleman here, but I'm assuming the first part of the name is the experience you get.
Yeah.
So Checkers Chicken, Courtside Cat, Courtside,
and
Courtside tickets somewhere.
And I'm assuming
FaceTime 5, FaceTime Flea, FaceTime Fly, FaceTime Fox, FaceTime Frog.
Oh, those are.
So you get to do FaceTime with Gary V. There's even one right here. Podcast Panther. So you get him on the hype, get him on the break room sesh.
Answer me this, because I haven't looked into the actual NFT portion of this too much. I am like seriously getting into the NFT space right now, and I'm like dabbling here and there. But I'm assuming the utility of the NFT is that you get these experiences, one-on-one experiences with him.
Yes,
right?
they're called access tokens. So there's only those. There's like 40 of them. So those are going to be all one of one. So it randomly, obviously, inserted in the boxes.
One thing we have to keep in mind and realize with his NFT specifically is that, like, that's the most important about any NFT. What is the utility of it? Now, people are valuing his time a lot, obviously, right? Because all of our time is valuable. So that makes sense to me now why those NFTs, some of them might have sold for a bunch of money, because whatever it is, like, you get to, go fishing with them or go to play basketball with him for 5 minutes or whatever it is, whatever these activity tokens are. So, and then you're saying the physical copy is going to be the same thing, like you get to.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously going to be no blockchain attached. It's not going to be any NFT, but it's paying homage to that. And there's going to be probably people. There's going to be one-on-ones of certain ones that maybe the person has the NFT and they want that. Your one-on-one that you pulled, right? So you're getting 1 pack per box, 10 cards per pack for each box. So and this is what I like. If you go on their product stats, there's only 250 cases produced, so they're being totally transparent on how much they made. 4 boxes per case, 1 pack per box, 10 cards per pack, 1,000 total boxes produced. Total boxes released 800. Card thickness 36 point. And then it says Zerocool believes in full transparency. 200 sealed boxes are being held from circulation for promotional purposes and accidental damages. Zerocool will never re-release this product. The distribution of cards into sealed boxes is done through a fully automated packaging process. No humans know what cards are in which boxes. So I think that's important. Now, the reverse Dutch auction is, I'll explain it to the best of my ability to explain it to you guys that are listening, is that... So in this instance, there's going to be 800 boxes released for auction. You have 2 days, and you have 1 day left as of today, Wednesday, to go in there and place your bid. The max boxes you can buy per account is 40, but you could separate bids based. So you could bid $1, you can bid $10,000, you could bid $1 million if you wanted. There's no set amount what you can do. So what they'll do is they'll take the top 800 bids. So let's just say, for example, the top bid is $1 million. And then the 800th bid is $1,000. All 800 people will pay $1,000. So it'll go for the lowest bid in that category. Now, there may be 700,000 bids, but it's going to be the top 800 bids. And then it'll go by the lowest bid of the 800. That'll price everybody else.
That's what everybody else
That's what will
pays.
price everybody else pays. So in a way, it's fair for everybody because there's a 2-day period to bid, so it's not like a reverse auction like Panini does, where you have a 2-hour time frame, and if you're dropping off your kids at school, you miss out on Contenders. It's 2 days worth, so everybody should have some time to get in there and log in and drop their bid. Everybody has a shot, and you could pay whatever you feel like paying.
Yeah.
And you could, if you're like, hey, I only want to spend $30, oh, you may not get it, but at least you tried.
People in our hobby, like those listening, and you've seen this before because StockX did it.
It's exactly what StockX did.
Yep. Chrome X, and the benefits for those still on the fence. The benefits of doing it this way is with Panini's way, because it's going down every 5 minutes or whatever. There's people that are paying the top end, like they're paying that high price, and you're like, and then you feel like crap when you see when it actually ends like thousands of dollars less or hundreds of dollars less, right? When you're the person that you paid at the very top. Well, this way, everybody's paying.
I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. So this way, everybody's paying, like you were explaining, the bottom price of the top 800 bids, right?
Well, and then you almost can create a resale, because if some guy bid $10,000 and then they went for 5, he got one, but he's like, I'll pay $6,000 for another one, or I'll pay $7,000 for another one.
because he was willing to pay $10,000.
He was already willing to pay $10,000, right? Yeah. So I think they're on the right track for transparency. Hopefully there's a way to, I guess we'll see it on Twitter. And I'm not saying they're going to maliciously do any shill bidding, but there is a bigger time period to do some of that stuff too, right? So,
that was the concern with when they did it with StockX, right? Like that was some of the concern that people had. But the more I get to understand this, I think this is the true Dutch auction, they call it. But what Panini's doing is not really the.
No, they're calling this the
Panini's not really a Dutch auction.
Blind Dutch auction.
Blind Dutch auction.
Yeah.
But
Panini's a reverse Dutch auction, I believe.
I heard what I understand. Panini's is not even really it shouldn't even be called a Dutch auction.
I don't think it should be called. I think it's just a reverse auction.
Now, I heard from a wise man in this industry had an idea that actually kind of bridges the gap of these two, that you start a 2-hour timer like Panini and say you decide to buy at 10 grand. The last sellout price is what everybody pays for. So you could secure it by paying to say, I'm willing to get it at 10 grand. But once you get to like that amount and it sells out, then everybody just pays that amount. So it's a kind of a hybrid of these two. And then it's real time, right? So, but you may get screwed if you pay. You're like, I'm going to pay 10 grand, but I'm hoping I only pay 6 by the time it sells out, and then it sells out at 9 grand and you're out. So, but I think this is going to be interesting to see. I like that they have everything stat wise on there. The checklist is already out. So if we're going to start seeing more trading card products like this, I think it's going to be more available to everybody. And if you want a box, you don't have to, fight tooth and nail to get it. But on the flip side, it may shut out dealers too. It may shut out dealers from getting quantity as well. So I don't know if this business model is going to be used for everything. Obviously, it's going to probably be used on Zerocool, which Zerocool is pitched as a music kind of entertainment type of brand spinoff.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is like they're testing the waters, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's super cool. I'm excited about the project. I am also intrigued to see how the secondary market handles just the common cards. Like not the big like parallel one of ones, but like what is a regular Gary V card going to go for? That's just a base card,
right?
I guess it's all going to really depend on what those boxes sell for.
Well, we're going to have to see, are people going to be willing to open these boxes?
And the next thing is since I know what I put in for my bids, and you know what you put in for your bids, and we're not going to share that information, but C-Rad,
right?
We haven't talked yet.
No,
I'm curious where you think they're going to sell. Like, what do you feel comfortable?
Well, I think you guys gave me a key stat because I haven't looked into any of this really. I just started. By the way, I follow Gary Vee, but I didn't get into the NFT portion of his the VeeFriends yet necessarily. But you guys gave me a key stat in that you told me how much the NFTs sold for. So just going off of that, I'm gonna say box bids, and you can see where the bids are at, right? Like,
you can't.
No, you can't.
Or okay, I'm just gonna guess a number.
So you would basically.
We're not gonna know until
what
it ends.
What I'm asking you is, you go and you like hypothetically, you're gonna go on right now and you're gonna put in your bid that you feel comfortable.
4 cards
paying.
a box, right?
10
cards a box.
10 cards a box.
$5,000.
$5,000 a box.
Yeah.
All right.
That's,
Yes, 5,000.
Dan was a little lower than that, but I was closer to that number. So, yeah. So
because you guys gave me the key number of I didn't know how much his NFT sold for. I knew that they sold for millions. I didn't know it sold for $50 million.
So
well, not one NFT, but like
all
of them.
The accumulation.
So for
of all of them.
entertainment purposes, I'm gonna go ahead and say what my first bid, and I was the first one to put it in there out of the three of us. I did it yesterday. And I'm sitting there and I'm signing up for an account and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to buy 40 boxes. I went straight.
That's the max, yeah.
The max. I went 40 boxes and I'm like sitting there crunching some numbers, wheels turning. And again, I'm not a NFT expert by any means.
Right.
I'm coming more from like a card background. I'm like $115 a box.
Ooh.
I had some insight, not necessarily
but
anybody that knows, but I was told that number that you thought of, that's what they think people think they're going to go for.
I have since changed my bids because apparently
Cody's just like, what are you guys doing?
Apparently,
what are you guys doing?
Apparently, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Let me also, because people are going to sit here and listen to this, and obviously a lot of us are card collectors. We're coming from the hobby, the community of card collectors. I put that number out there because I personally see the value of what Gary Vee is talking about in terms of, being an entrepreneur and, being positive and all these other things that he talks about all the time. So people are going to be like, dude, like what the reason why he kind of left the card community, right? Because I know that's the topic that a lot of people have been talking about recently too, right? Like, where's Gary Vee? How come he's not pumping anymore? I mean, that's why I asked you. We all agree Luber is a very smart entrepreneur, right? And I look at Gary Vee the same way. I think he's an extremely smart entrepreneur. He was on the internet first before everybody else. He was on things like Twitter and Facebook before everybody else. Instagram. He was telling people to do TikTok. He's still telling people to do TikTok before it's too late. And another thing, now NFTs, like he's pushing NFTs because he sees the future. So like all this VeeFriends and
he just got to deal with Budweiser for NFTs.
Yeah,
so.
but
actually, I actually got a preview, guys. Sorry to interrupt. I have a preview actually of the VeeFriends Budweiser. Gary Vee. I've got it right here. Physical copy. There it is. That's what it looks like. That's what the VeeFriends. That's what it's going to look like. It's
beer.
Extraordinary.
It's beer. I mean,
extraordinary.
That does move me, actually. It does move me.
Put that on my
So-
wall.
I love beer, so I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was
Straight
gonna
to the
say
point.
also. So people who are only in the cards, like the people that listen to our podcast, they saw Gary Vee. They only know Gary Vee of this guy who told us about these cards that he was buying, and it looked like he was just pumping and dumping essentially. But what people who've like Doug and I, who've been following Gary Vee a long time and have been listening to what he's been saying for a long time and what he teaches entrepreneurs, he pretty much just was like, the reason he's not doing it anymore is because he's a smart entrepreneur, so he doesn't want to be seen as that's the only thing he's doing. So now he still probably is buying cars, but he just doesn't let people know, because he, like the same thing with when Sports Card Investor came out with that video recently. He was like, why we stopped doing our certain shows, because people were just literally taking our word and it was the Bible. People were buying that, and we were seeing like this pump and dump scheme. So that's why we stopped doing that show, because we didn't want people to just associate that aspect of our business with us, right? So I place a big premium, because I follow him. I place a big premium on his time. So for me, like the NFTs and his cards that he's coming out, if I can have like 5 minutes with him, that's extremely valuable to me.
And my point of view,
Valuable to me.
I don't think the cards are aesthetically pleasing. Don't get me wrong on that. And I know people are going to be like, well, they look like crap. Agreed. It's just it's almost like a form of currency. It's like he made currency for everybody to
there's
as
not
an investment.
there's not a part of you guys that feel like we're kind of getting played here.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Look, because you mentioned the stuff with sports cards, and the fact is he was on it. Get Giannis on Rich Eisen's show and all that.
He was telling us where the market. He saw that the same way he saw all those things that I just listed. All those things, he told people about that years in advance.
Right.
To tell people like, this is the next big thing. So is that a bad thing that he can see these things before they happen, and he's trying to let people know about that? Like, is that really a bad thing?
But I guess with this thing, though, because he understands his influence. And with the sports card stuff, like, and it does feel weird that the moment that things kind of are, again, things haven't crashed in sports cards, but things have dipped compared to what they were the last couple of years, where, yes, it was unsustainable, 100%. But then to go into this and, again, understand the influence he has, okay, time for me to do an NFT. If, again, you care about this format so much and believe in it so much, and then the product is the doodles of a grade schooler. Sorry,
but Cody, you got
it's a little bit of a slap in the face, and it feels a little bit like I can just do whatever I want, and you're gonna pay $6,000 for it.
I can fart on a snare drum and
No.
And it feels.
You'll buy my
I hate to be
record.
pessimistic, but it does feel a little bit like
I see
we're
that
being
side.
played a little bit.
I see it.
That's fair. But you have to understand, like, NFTs is still such a new thing to a lot of people, right? Okay. What he's saying, like, and he's been saying this too. He's saying that actually 99% of these NFTs that people are creating these days, they're gonna fail. They're gonna fail. Like, he's seen all these other people try to do these things that are similar to what has gotten big, fail, right? I feel like this VeeFriends thing is kind of like a proof of concept. He's trying to show people that this is a legit viable thing. He's giving you these artworks that are not necessarily spectacular. And I mean, if you go through the VeeFriends Instagram, you can see some that actually are like high quality artwork. I haven't looked at all the VeeFriends on NFTs, but he's trying to show people like this is a legitimate thing. And he knows how valuable his time, again, it comes to the time, right? Time with him, being able to like just spend time with him and kind of pick his brain, right? That's worth millions to entrepreneurs
Or
everywhere.
he's like it's like the Nokia version of a camera for a phone at this point. It's like the 1 megapixel. Well, you got to improve it every year, right? So you're not gonna come out with 3D art right at the gate.
Okay. So when we say V and Friends,
VeeFriends, that's the company.
the V Friends, right?
Yeah.
These sketches originally, or these NFTs, were done by Gary V.
I believe so.
I'm
not 100%.
And the friends are the characters.
I see. I don't know the answer to that, but I assumed by looking at his Instagram, I assume that it's people that it's not just him doing these drawings. Like, look at this. This is apparently.
I mean
coming
that,
to series 2.
but that like
Let me see.
that is a lot better than.
You see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I get like when you look at some of the sketches that we had, yeah. But again, also going back to that real quick, series 1 and what we're about to get with Zero cards,
Zerocool.
Zerocool. The visually, okay, a lot of them don't look cool, but for me, it's more about the utility itself.
Yeah, me too.
It's about the utility. That's the most important about NFTs. Like our, I don't know if we just talk about it, but I'm not gonna talk about it. But the utility of an NFT is the most important part for me when I'm buying an NFT. It's like
I don't know what we're not talking about.
I'll tell you guys after the show. But the artwork, you guys will get it maybe next week on the next episode. But the artwork, like Doe was saying, like hopefully it can get there. Like I'm showing you guys, like you guys can't see this on the screen, but I'm looking at some series 2 drawings that are in the next series of VeeFriends for the NFT version, and it can improve. But the utility again is the most important part, and which is what you get from the NFT actually, like what you physically get, not just what you get.
And I think that's where the lines are
image.
blurred with the card community. And I'm not saying your guys' opinion is wrong at all, because like I said, I think it's beyond the actual design.
So are you guys both saying that like the events, what you're saying, utility is what is going to drive the value?
Yes, and
it is not. So you're saying the cards are going to come out, and the secondary market on the cards are going to be like almost worth nothing, but the utility.
I don't know, because I think the cards are going to be worth something because the NFTs have sold for so much.
Yeah.
So
imagine.
Well, I mean, the cards.
but
the card should be worth a lot. If people are paying $5,000 for 10 cards, I hope the cards sell for something. I mean, they're granted they're not going to be. It's not going to be a 1-for-1. Right. You're not going to basically get $500.
But if you look at, and I'm not huge into the NFT game, but you look at the Bored Apes. I mean, that's not that phenomenal of a looking. I mean, that it's just it's an ape with a hat or long hair.
Yeah, we can't compare that. What we're looking
but I mean,
here.
that's not like. That's not phenomenal. I mean, like, it's not like, oh my God, look how cool that is.
I think those look terrible, and they might as well be the Mona Lisa compared to this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's like, I think when you have a movement, and that's what he's created, and that's what probably the Bored Apes has had as well. And I know you got to get to breaks here soon, but like the movement behind it, you're buying into the company. That's why you could have some great artist create an NFT and it'll flop because there's no movement. There's no
reason behind
it.
the artwork.
Cody.
No offense, but hey man, you're not buying into this for this. You're buying in for the move. It sounds kind of like a cult. No offense, but that's what it came off.
No, for me, it's all about. It is the Gary V brand 1,000%. I've been
So he can do anything. He can come out
Probably.
with anything.
Hey, I bought his shoes.
You know what? He can almost do anything because he's always almost been right about everything he said. And the free game that he gives you, just if you just follow him on Instagram, like the free game he gives you and motivation on just being an entrepreneur and just like living life in a more positive way, like it's valuable, dude. And I've been listening to him since 2013.
And he's
so.
a believable person.
But the reason why everything succeeds is because he has a giant army behind him that just follow
Right, why
whatever
not?
he says. So like whatever he is making or creating or saying to buy doesn't necessarily have to be the next thing, but it becomes the next thing because there's so many people
Well, yeah,
who
I
jump
mean,
on
look
board.
at- I mean-
I get it. Like I understand, but like
I don't think that's necessarily true because he's called big things before, like literally anybody else is really into it. And he didn't have a big team back in the early internet days either. You know what I'm saying? Like he brought, like, I don't want to go through his whole story again, but yeah, for me it's all about what Gary Vee what he's providing, the utility, what you can actually get from it besides just the artwork itself.
Yeah. We'll have to see how it plays out. I think the auction ends, so next week.
Sounds like I'm not winning it for 115.
I don't think so, but you'd be surprised. But
I did it, and I had a conversation. Nobody else there. I had a conversation with Cody and I. We were sitting here, and I'm like, hey, I put in bids for $115. I'm like, a part of me thinks I overpaid tremendously for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I also may have underpaid tremendously for it. I'm like, I literally have no idea.
The moment you told me, I went, no way.
You remember?
That's
you
going
remember
at
when
least
you guys
4 times more.
You guys thought you were too low on the Bowman Chrome thing, but we guys got it for low.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You're telling me I'm right in the
I'm telling you
ballpark
you
at
have a
115?
chance.
115.
There's a chance. Saying there's a
telling
chance.
you.
I changed it because apparently, like, I had to, because I wasn't even.
And I think this
close.
creates even the more FOMO because you have, rather than a 2-hour
I put in
Panini
a $1
auction,
million bid. For
rather than
Bucks.
have a 2-hour Panini auction, you got 2 days to talk about it like we're doing now and deciding what you're going to do. And I guarantee multiple people have probably went back and forth and changed their bids, right?
Yeah.
So just like Dan did. So, but that's all we got to announce the winner from last week
Yeah.
before we end the show as well.
Justin Vu is our winner.
Awesome.
Justin, congratulations last week. That's a box of what? Series 1?
Yes.
2022 hockey. So
Hockey
congratulations.
Series
Justin.
1. We'll get that out. Contact us through Mojobreak.com through the contact form for that. But we got more. We got to get to contenders. We got so much we got to break, and we got Heritage coming out this week, 2022 Heritage. We also have Playbook Football and Origins Basketball. So it's a big. We didn't even talk about that because there wasn't enough time. So lots of stuff going on at Mojobreak.com. Get into a break there. Follow us at Mojobreak_com on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you hit the subscribe here. And we'll see you guys on the next week's show. Check out the Luber interview, guys, coming up here on Friday. Break room session. Peace out.